Hello everybody! We are here for a new kind of stream. I hope you're all doing fantastic today. Slightly different setup. We're going to be ranking some Pokemon games. Let me just make sure all the tech is running well. We can go ahead and get the vertical up and running here while we get the intro going. I hate that I bump the camera so much when I am using the mouse. I'm going to try to be gentle with it. There we go. Hello, hello. We already got some people in the chat, which we love to see. Let's see here. We have Jaden, Coles, Jay, Indecisive Panda, Colton, Cosmic. Welcome in everybody. You guys are awesome for being here already. I am excited for Pokemon Day. I want to see more stuff about Legends ZA. Hopefully we get some good updates soon. I really want to see what is up with that. Slap the Table MT for some exciting new format. Absolutely, Cosmic. Absolutely. It's probably because the webcam's on the laptop, just for our setup today here. Because we have a slightly different camera angle going on. Because I am big now on the screen. It was Colton's idea. I believe Colton and Good were bouncing ideas around of how to make a tier list stream work. So, I have a bunch of Pokemon games, both hacks, main series games, also some other random fan-made games and other spin-off stuff. That's all listed on this Pokemon game tier list. This is an open tier boy because it's ad-free and also a little bit easier to visually see and make it clean for stream. So that's what we're going to be using for this. And I figure we just go through, chat a little bit about the experience of each game in, like, as far as it relates to the channel. I don't have Red Fire on it yet, no, Coles. Stuff that's actually premiered on the channel. I could throw on just an image, a placeholder at the end for Red Fire. 100% I could do that. But the ranking will kind of be a culmination of how fun it is for the channel, the formats you can play with it, but also just the quality of the game itself, and how much you guys enjoy it. I think it's got to kind of be a culmination of a lot of things as far as the M. Tiberius universe goes. That's kind of my thoughts. Jaden says any game with Piplup is S tier. That may be debatable. That may be debatable. If I don't see the following in S tier, I'm going to be fuming. Yellow, Platinum, Unbound, PLA, and Red Fire. We'll see how it all goes down. I actually haven't looked at any of this list yet, as far as like actually giving them a solid ranking. So I feel like we can kind of have it open format to discuss the MT universe. Wasn't this my idea? I believe so, Colton. I believe you came up with it, and Good was bouncing around some ideas of how to make it work in the mods chat, I think. Both of you were really into the ranking stream, so I wanted to get one out here just to see how we feel about it. I'm doing really well, Ian. How are you? Okay. Let's see. I won't see any game with Magnemite is an S tier because, one, I don't want to sink down to Jaden's level, and two, almost every game has a Magnemite in it. Yeah. A lot of games have Magnemite. A lot of games have some specific Pokemon, which is really fascinating. Ian is saying yellow is an S. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on it, honestly. I could see it. I could also see reasons why not. Wait, it's the MTU. I love the MTU. That's awesome. Jay says Hoppip is the best Pokemon, and if you don't like that, then that's a you problem. Hoppip is absolutely adorable, so I'm down for that. I'm down for that. All good, thanks for asking. You're welcome, Ian. Okay, I guess the first game that we can just kick this discussion off with is Red and Blue. We're gonna start, there's a couple different categories here. This is gonna be, first of all, mainline series that we've played on the channel before. That's going to be the first grouping. So we're going to start with the discussion with Red and Blue. So feel free to weigh in the chat. I'm going to take that into consideration. Besides that, I'm also going to think about my personal biases. I feel like I always have to include a little bit of that. As a Gen 1er, there's just a lot of respect I have for Gen 1. But also just the quality of the game. Like, how fun is the game? I feel like that's a really big precedent to set. You have no choice to put Gen 3 in S. Probably, honestly. There might not be another option. Depends on which game, though. Depends on which game. Colton says A or B tier for red version? Red and blue? Ooh. See, honestly? Yeah, I'll drop it on the tier list so we can start the discussion here. Take red and blue. I'm honestly maybe B tier on it, maybe C tier. The problem with red and blue is that red and blue has a lot of gameplay and like game design issues, right? Like there's a lot of things in red and blue that are just plain not very good. They're super nostalgic and they're amazing to revisit quickly because you can beat the whole game so quickly. RBY are B tier at the absolute lowest. They are very jankily made, but C tier would be just incorrect. I feel like that's fair, Annie. I think red and blue are the B tier end of that, though. They're definitely not the optimal forms of Generation 1. I just think that's the reality. After green, Xeno, and horizontal, yellow is a classic. Yellow is fantastic. Cosmic is really saying A, though. And Colton. Yellow above red and blue, absolutely. I feel like the mod should get some sway. I think everyone can get a little bit of sway. I respect the mod's opinion as well. Yellow isn't as good as y'all think. It is still buggy because Gen 1 and you can't even get Pokemon like Magmar and Electabuzz in it. True. I mean, all Pokemon games are going to have regional Pokemon that are and aren't allowed. Cole says, I'm okay with B tier. I was going to say A for red and blue. I think we got to start with a B tier. Red and blue is super, super fun. I can't, just for game design purposes, give it higher than a B, I don't think. Yeah, the optimal form of Gen 1 is probably Infinite Fusion. Even ignoring the fusion thing is honestly the best version of Kanto I've played. Even over like Radical Red and things like that. I know those are super popular right now too. Jay has played yellow, but never red and blue. You got to go back and play red and blue. It's a little bit different, and it really is where the series started. So it's worth a visit. Yellow should be an A, says Coles. Interesting. C tier will make me mad. Okay, I feel like B is the lowest we can go with red and blue, or I feel like the chat is going to absolutely riot. Yellow is one step above red and blue. That would be A tier, not S tier. That's interesting. Annie says I haven't played Radical Red, but I still think I definitely prefer Infinite Fusion because every time I see Radical Red, it's just the AI cheating. Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a line drawn, right, between just difficulty of the game and then just straight up making it unfair. Because I think that stuff like Ironmon makes the game just straight unfair, and I don't think that's a great game design thing. I think it's a fun challenge thing for people like me that have played a million hours of Pokemon. So, like, I enjoy that kind of thing, but I don't know if that's like everyone's cup of tea or if it's even a good design choice. Crystal S tier, just a heads up. I don't know if I can do that. Where's green in this tier list, MT? I've not played the Japanese green version, to be fair. I have seen it. I actually had a cousin that owned a Japanese green copy that I watched him play briefly for like an hour. That's about as much exposure to green version as I've had. It's just the even jankier red and blue. If I was to honorarily put it on this list, it would probably be the C or D tier of Pokemon. The sprites also are rough. They're really rough. Okay, so I think that for now, I'm pretty happy with red and blue at B. I feel like that's pretty fair. Let's go ahead and drop yellow into the A tier. I know that we're having some people discussing whether or not yellow was S tier or A tier. I feel like that's a tough call. There's difficulty and then there's the game is cheating, says Annie. 100%. 100%. You can order them within the tier, like putting yellow further to the left of red and blue within the B tier. Yeah, I can totally do that. I'm going to take that into account. The order that they are in the tier is still the order of preference. I think we're going to play it that way here so that we can have some good reference points for what we're working with as far as things go. Poll can do polls. I think we might have to do it for yellow. Let me make a poll for yellow. Let's put that and we can keep talking about yellow version here in the meantime. The camera's gonna shake a little bit because I gotta type on the other keyboard here. Yellow, S or A? S tier. Make it this. A tier. Make it look nice. There we go. Okay, so we got a poll running in the horizontal chat there. Yellow is super iconic. I have to say yellow is my favorite of the Generation 1 games. I think that it is pretty well balanced, honestly, overall for a Gen 1 or Gen 2 game. I think it's actually probably better balanced than Generation 2 as a whole. I think that that's a fair point. Obviously, it's a little bit silly with Koga having a bunch of Venonats and Sabrina just having an Abra, which, as far as the difficulty, I don't know if mods... Oh, no, admin, but not mods. Good, are you an admin moderator or just a moderator? I don't know for sure for good. I'm more than happy to make the polls here for when we need them. More people are saying S tier than A tier though, which is really surprising. But nobody adds that special something, that secret ingredient. I have to agree with that. Yellow version adding, like, especially the follower Pokemon with Pikachu for the first time in the series. Stuff like that really is super nice. Yellow is fun, but S would be disingenuous. Yeah. I definitely see the argument there, Annie. The poll, I have to respect the poll to some extent, though, Annie. I do think it's the best of Generation 1. I think that it is iconic in a way that other games besides Red and Blue just can't achieve in a lot of ways. I mean, Red and Blue was the top selling Pokemon game ever, right? Like, it just is the top seller. To a poll in Vertical as well. You want me to? But hold on, we don't have that many people in Vertical, but we can test it over here in Vertical. Make the same poll. Yellow is S tier or A tier in the Vertical chat. We can just get everyone's opinion here. This is the one I'm not sure about. Because I can totally respect S tier because it is a game that means the world to me. So I would be totally happy with an S tier. But to Annie's point, I don't know if it's a game that has earned that right. Democracy has failed Coles tonight. Pros of democracy, the people can speak. Cons of democracy, the people are made of stupid. I am also made of stupid. Good needs to be an admin. That's probably a fair call. Yellow is the best of Gen 1, but Gen 4 poops on it. I can see that. I mean, Platinum specifically, yes. I think, I mean, the shocking thing here is that the S tier has got it by about like a mile in the actual polls here, which is surprising. Let's see. And you haven't sent it to your final form yet. You'll get there soon. Yellow is the GOAT. We need an S minus tier. I think the S minus is just A. Honestly, we can make it the last of the S tier. We can call it S minus, and just put it as the worst of S tier. That might be kind of where we land, at least for now. Because surprisingly, it's really pretty telling with the poll. People are loving yellow version. To be fair, yellow version has made a big part of this channel happen. So I can respect it. I probably should be an admin, but yeah, I guess we gotta figure out what the abilities are of an admin. I mean, I would trust you good to treat the channel well, but I don't know what that all entails. I know, Jay, that you love Crystal. We can get to that one in just a second. Actually, we might as well just start talking a little bit about Crystal. And what I think makes Yellow better than Crystal. Because I did say that it's probably better than Crystal. So obviously Gen 1 has a lot of problems with just quality of code. However, what Yellow version does pretty well is it makes a very satisfying gameplay loop of the game itself. Like the overarching storyline, not really storyline, but like just the pattern of gameplay for the whole game. The being able to, you know, beat trainers gym, and then a couple of extra things like Sylph Company and that kind of thing mixed in is just a really fun pattern that that Gen 1 did really, really well, and Crystal really, really struggled with, because Crystal has a lot of kind of loose, unresolved plot lines, if that makes sense. We can't start splitting up the tiers. I think we can order within the tiers, I think is a fair way to go. Hating a game that was made when TV was still using CRT is wild. That's why I gotta have so much respect for Yellow version. They made a game that's actually pretty fun and pretty replayable, even all the way until 2025, which is very wild. The age of a game is not an excuse for any of the games. Also, Gen 4 is like 15 years old, so it's a grandpa being beat up by other grandpa. Totally fair. And hey, I mean, people's favorite Pokemon calls could be for a lot of different reasons, not just for battle prowess, as the Redbeard guy would say. I totally respect the Hoppip love. I like a lot of Pokemon that aren't very good in battle, to be fair. Quality of code, MT, what is the quality of code you speak of? 0 for Gen 1. 0 quality of code. Let's see. Yeah, order within the tiers is the correct way to do it. I think so. But like I was saying about Crystal version, I do think that Crystal version is held back a little bit by trying to do too many little things in a game that are not satisfying as far as the actual payoff at the end of the game. The Rocket storyline is a bit of a hassle and doesn't really give a concrete end to the storyline like the event stuff we see later on in Gen 4. On top of that, I do think the game visually is absolutely gorgeous. I think Gen 2 is possibly the best as far as just the vibes that Pokemon has been in a long time, because it has a lot of love for Pokemon. Crystal is just bleeding love for the Pokemon series. I gotta respect that. I feel like Gen 3 is also gorgeous as far as Game Boy Advance games go, but Crystal really, they put some effort into Crystal version. The problem with Crystal version is really, as far as like competitive speed running or like solo running, it's just not as good. It's just plain not as good. Is that about Crystal, Ian? I didn't feel like it held my attention as well as some of the other games. I could totally see that. I have to agree with Zeno. Gen 4 came out 10 years after Yellow. That's a lifetime in the gaming world. 1998 to, I mean, Gen 1 Red and Blue was 96. So from that to 2007, that's a whole generation of improvements on a game. I gotta respect that too. I love Gen 2 as much as the next person, but Johto Pokemon don't exist in Johto, and it makes me sad. Yeah. That is another unfortunate drawback of Crystal. I think by comparison, because we can talk about this a little bit right now. Well, we'll get to it later. I have more thoughts on Gen 2. We can say that for when we get to actual other Gen 2 games. But I do think Crystal, for the absolute like love that's put into it and how good the sprites look from Gen 2 until today. I mean, Gen 2 Gengar sprite or Lapras sprite, they're incredibly good. They're awesome. Justice for Crystal and Hoppip and really everything about Gen 2. Yeah, I agree if you compare two games made the same year, but you can't compare a brick phone to a smartphone. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the issue, right? Like, I definitely would have to add the caveat to each of these that, like, compared to other things of its time, because I think that's why Yellow can sneak into the S tier, is compared to other Game Boy games, it's also just one of the greats. Like, it's so good. I mean, as a counter argument to Annie about Doom, I mean, have you ever gone back to play GoldenEye? It's a nightmare now to play GoldenEye. It does not hold up nearly as well. But at the time, it was amazing, right? There's a lot of context for especially older games that I have to give it a little bit of credit. Just because things like, I mean, Super Mario 64, yeah, Super Mario 64 was one of their first games with like adjustable cameras, and it kind of tried to do it. It didn't do it well, but it tried. Touching out people's neck for an opinion isn't a surprise. Heck, it's expected. 100% Coles. I'm not taking it that serious. I'm just talking video games because it's one of the things that I have a lot of hours playing and doing. Why is you Night on here, MT? Have you gone insane? Here you MT is mad. Somebody stop him. It's a Pokemon game. It's got to be ranked. I like you, Nexus Cosmic. I haven't played it in a minute. I haven't played it in a little while, but I did enjoy things about it when I played it. Okay, I think I'm torn between A and B for Crystal, in all honesty. I could see both. As far as just the experience, I think it gets an A. Game design is like a C on it, in all honesty. Where's Snakewood? I don't even know what Snakewood is. These are Pokemon games I'll go over the categories again in a bit. But they have categories to them, which we'll explain a little bit as we go. It's either high B tier or A tier. Jay says A. I think I can accept a low A tier for Crystal. I think low A tier for Crystal is pretty good for me. Fire Red, on the other hand, is a very interesting case study. We can just drop it into B tier because it's our next one we're talking about here. For Kanto 2, which everybody loves Kanto, obviously. Where does Fire Red sit compared to Red and Blue and Crystal? It's obviously a lot better balanced than Red and Blue, which makes me think that it might need to be A tier and not B tier. Also, a lot of ROM hacking can be done with Fire Red, and I feel like that is a fair call. Justice for Ranger and Mystery Dungeon. I have Mystery Dungeon on here. We can talk a little bit about it. I have not played Ranger in a long time. I don't think I even have a copy anymore. I'd have to figure out how to even stream that, because like if I could stream it from the DS, that could be sick, because we could actually use the touchpad, which would be crazy. Yeah. A lot of these games, if they're like conjoined, like Fire Red, I can't go back and edit the titles in this tier list once I've put it in. But this is Fire Red and Leaf Green. I didn't mention it, but like Black and Scarlet will also kind of include White and Violet, if that makes sense. Justice for Rumble, 100% Justice for Rumble. Oras's best remake, that's pretty good. Colton does like Leaf Green better. I think that's a fair call. I kind of think Fire Red did not add a ton to the Pokemon games. It obviously doesn't have the physical special split. It doesn't have a ton of new Pokemon available in Kanto. It basically just sticks to the same formula as Red and Blue. But it does it much more competently than Red and Blue. For the fact of the ROM hacking community, though, I do have to say I'll probably put it ahead of Red and Blue. I might even put it ahead of Crystal, but that seems a little crazy to me. Fire Red and Leaf Green an A, but we'll just say Fire Red is A+ and Leaf Green is A-. Is Fire Red before or after Crystal, I guess, is the next debate. I think that... Ooh, Giovanni's horrible in Fire Red. Elite Four is a lot better. Fire Red Leaf Green is like Red and Blue, but they took out the glitches and locked the friendship Evos behind the post game. Like a dick, yeah. Unfortunately, the friendship Evos being locked is rough. It was after Crystal. But in the tier list, though, is it lower or higher than Crystal is what I meant, Colton. Makes me feel that ORAS is better than even Emerald. It probably is. I don't actually have ORAS on this tier list. I've not played like the entire game of ORAS, and I have not played it on the channel. So in this grouping, it's not included here. It's an incredible remake. It's definitely gotten some kudos. I'm almost with Coulson here of doing this for Fire Red Leaf Green. Above Crystal and A tier. Who needs democracy? We need chaos. MT is our tier list overlord. I like the discussion. I like the discussion. We'll leave it there for now. No, that feels better. That feels better to me. The vibes of Crystal are just better than Fire Red. Higher. A lot of people saying higher. I don't know. I'm stuck on this one. As far as gameplay mechanics, I gotta respect Fire Red and how important it is to the ROM hack community. I think that alone can put it above Crystal. As a game, maybe not as good, but the impact of it, huge. Huge, huge. Now, expect all the Crystal hate. Hey, I don't hate Crystal at all. I absolutely love Crystal. It would be absurd to try to calculate how many hours I put into Crystal. Absolutely love Crystal. I put it over the originals. 100% it's a good game. Fire Leaf Green has some core issues that just make it not as worth playing as RBY. I can see that. I can see that. It's behind Yellow. I think Red and Blue also have a lot of issues that just drag it down even further, in all honesty. But the Crystal vibes. Yeah, Fire Red Leaf Green Gen 3 actually had steel moves that were kind of widespread. Tier list so far. Thank you, Cosmic, for keeping us updated as well. Hey, Jason. Welcome in. Okay, we'll move on here. Black. So Gen 5 is absolutely awesome. It's for sure at least A tier. Gen 5 is very, very well done. I totally respect the sticking to Pokemon of the new region in a new game. I think that's awesome. Does it go all the way up to S tier? I think it might need to. As far as gameplay, as far as game design, the visuals are awesome on DS. I gotta hand it to it. You just did a Super Smash tier list today, Cole's very nice. Anything after Gen 2 is garbage, says Viral Norm. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of nostalgia for those games, and I totally respect the magic that they captured in Gens 1 and 2. As far as game design, I think that black version and white version by association both need to go into S tier. Hear me out. The time it takes for a high HP Pokemon to faint. Yes, I know Platinum is the same, but let me something okay. I kind of liked the HP bar going slow. I don't know. Maybe that's like a hot take. It felt really impactful sometimes for like in dire moments to have it go slower. And welcome in Caesar and TCG Billy. I like it too. It shows it was far away in black. That the like 3D-ness of the world was very nice. I'm gonna leave it in S tier for now. It's such a good game. It's fun to ROM hack. It's fun to play through. It's got a bunch of like you could do a lot of different types of challenges in it. Still, I think it holds up pretty well to even solo running. It'd be slower than yellow version. I don't do it on this channel, but I've seen people do solo runs in it. I think it works quite well still for that. Absolutely no trolls. Bro, no question. Pokemon Violet and Scarlet go in S tier. I'm assuming you're joking, Vex, because I don't know if I can get on that train. Well, we might be headed back to Unova again soon, so who knows? It's TCP. We could be going back there in 10 years. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, we'll leave black in S tier for now. Scarlet. Whew. Scarlet. How strange you are. I feel like it's hard to rank Gen 9 compared to other Pokemon games. It's really tough. Honestly, it's a fun game. Game design wise, it's kind of a nightmare. Hey, Sebastian. Thank you for putting black on S, masterpiece. It's so good. I agreed, Sebastian. D to C tier. Fire Red is not S tier, rigged. I think it's good. I think it's held back by the fact that it was such a faithful remake. Story's good in Scarlet. Let's just drop it into the tier list for a second. Story's good in Scarlet. I think it's pretty good. The world is kind of a mess as far as navigating the overworld. The battles are pretty satisfying. Terrestrialization's pretty cool. A lot of the same issues with Red and Blue, though, of like, Red and Blue had some magic, has a lot of technical issues that hold it back a little bit. Do we even have all the DLC for Gen 9? I don't know, actually. Hey, Vex. It's all good. Whatever you want to do. It's a live stream. It's how it goes. Let's see. Story saves things. Probably the most interesting story in years. Goated story. I agree. I could see it in B tier. The visual bugs bother me. That's definitely something. JK, like Pokemon. You're good, Vex. The visual bugs bother me quite a bit. And the just confusion of the game design, I think, has to hold it back a little bit. I might leave it in B tier for now. It's fun, though. And terrestrialization is pretty satisfying. But the visuals are rough. The visuals are really bad. Some of the animations are horrible. I don't know. I'm between B and C. The bugs and everything wrong with it makes it a C tier. It might be. Personally, Black and White is C tier. Really? No, I think Black and White are really good. Graphics are terrible, Timothy. You are correct there. At least C tier, putting it B tier offends me. We'll leave it C tier for now. I just can't get over how ugly it is sometimes, which really hurts. That really hurts. So those are the main series, core series games that we played on the channel. So that's that category. The next category is going to be ROM hacks that we've played on the channel, which are going to be... Oh, Pokemon Snap is in the wrong place. But here we go. Get this situated again. Okay. So we played Blue Kaizo, Yellow Legacy, Crystal Clear, and Unbound as full playthroughs on the channel. So, starting with these, We can always go back and re-rank things if anybody has any good points to add at the end to re-rank anything. Blue Kaizo is an interesting one. It's been a long time since I streamed this, so some of you may not have seen much of this. Blue Kaizo is a super difficult version and expanded version of Red and Blue, essentially. But actually, TCG Billy commenting about Scarlet, saying it was disappointing after Legends Arceus. That's a good point. That's a good point. If anybody remembers the Blue Kaizo, will know that this game is insanely difficult. It's insanely difficult. Like, more difficult than it probably has any right to be. Even navigating the wild encounters can kill it, can wipe your team. It's absolutely insanely difficult. To the point of, I think, the game design itself being more frustrating than good as far as things go. I do have to give it credit for putting more of the original 151 in one game. And it still uses a lot of the Gen 1 mechanics and vibes. For a real challenge, it can be a super, super challenging one. I believe Pokemon Moon is on the list later in a separate category, Joe. Colton's saying D tier for Blue Kaizo. If you're looking for a Gen 1 challenge, it's kind of solid. It's not perfect by any means, but it is pretty interesting. No, Kaizo Iron Man, I say, still traumatized by the last couple runners. I can put it on here. I didn't know if we wanted that to be a separate... It is Fire Red, and it can also be played in Emerald. So I didn't know if we wanted to include that as its own game. That felt a little bit hard to do. I don't think I saw the stream, so I don't know. Yeah, this was like a year ago. Kaizo Stinky Difficulty Hack Stinky Siscoles. Same tier as Scarlet. Are y'all delusional? Blue Kaizo is just... It's a game that was designed to be super difficult, and I can respect that, but it's not as fun to play. But it's still Gen 1, but it's not as fun to play. So I'm between C and D tier. High D tier, low C tier. Kaizo ROM hacks are like 4chan rant levels of horridness, except without the racism that comes with 4chan. Well, I'm glad that there's none of that. It's definitely a bit of a mess, but it is fascinating in certain ways. We'll leave it in D tier for now, just because the game design itself is really, really not balanced. We'll leave it in D tier. We can move it up. Scarlet is way higher than Red and Blue. See, that's interesting to me. I think they have a lot of the same issues design-wise. Actually, not exactly the same, but like they both have a lot of design issues that I think I could see them switching Red and Blue to C tier, Scarlet to B tier at the most. You'd want to move up Scarlet. We might be able to move Scarlet low B tier. I could see that. We'll revisit it though as we go. Okay, Yellow Legacy. Yellow Legacy is really, really good. I don't know if it's better than Yellow in my mind, because there are some things that are good about it, that are really good about it. I really respect Smith Plays for the work they put into their legacy hacks. As far as this one goes, does it beat Yellow? Oh, Cosmic saying, so the thing I have gathered from all of this so far is everyone deserves head bonks, and the Gen 1 guy is now the Gen 5 guy. Noted. I mean, I can respect Gen 5. I can respect it. It does a lot of things right. I have a ton of respect for Smith Plays and the work they put into it, because they really did make a more functional game. And that is very good. Uh, the problem is that it really changes the balance of things. But because it fixes a lot of things, and it's better balanced, it might need to go ahead of yellow. I think that might be the call. Like, so Scarlet Violet has a lot of issues, RB has a lot of issues, but none of them are the same. They're the same category of issue, which is design issues, like development issues. Red and Blue I have a little bit more forgiveness for, being the first of the series, and that the core gameplay is still so iconic. And it's the top-selling Pokemon game of all time. It gets some respect for that. Scarlet doesn't have the same context as far as why the development issues sucked. That's where that is, I guess. That's why I said yellow should be an A, because Yellow Legacy is right there. That's totally fair. We have a lot of stuff that will be lower tier. I just love yellow so much. And S tier votes really won it out. Okay, I think Yellow Legacy can sit above yellow. It's just the improvement. I don't like that it takes away a little bit from Gen 1, like the way Gen 1 works. Because it's janky, and trying to fix it while leaving the jank in is tough. Because it's like the badge boosting stuff, it's like they left it in the yellow version specifically for Pikachu to fix some issues. But that's a glitch. So like, it's weird to try to wrap your head around about where that really exists in the realm of games. Is that polish, or is that respecting the format? I think it's respecting the format to some extent, but I do think it's somewhat different in some ways. I think it's more playable, more balanced, not quite Gen 1. Yellow Legacy removes the lingering stains of Red and Blue from yellow. That's fair. TCG was Billy was saying Red and Blue started Pokemania. It did. It's got to get some respect for that. But as the Pokemon community, aren't we all at fault for the development issues? We push them to bring out main series games too often. Look at Platinum. They took time and the game was better for it. Did they take more time for Platinum though than they did for Scarlet and Violet? I wonder what the development time was on those. Anyway, we got Crystal Clear up next. I do have to say I love Crystal Clear. It is really top tier for me. I think it might be above Gen 5. I think that might be where it sits. Crystal Clear is so fun. Just like, it is a totally different experience as an open world game. And I think that fixes a lot of Crystal. I think Crystal's main issue is that you have a lot of time walking between places and there's not a lot of direction in the middle of the game. Because you got the Rocket Hideout up in Mahogany Town, but you also have Olivine and Cyanwood City where you can kind of have some freedom, but also it loses a little bit of direction there. Crystal Clear fixes that with the open world thing, and it adds so many new features to it without changing the fact that it still like all the battles feel Gen 2. I really respect that. Like, just the product that resulted from that. It's really impressive to make something still feel and play through as Gen 2, add a ton of features, a ton of difficulty settings that are like optional. I don't know if it's going to be the best on this list. It might be up there though. I'm trying to think if it beats Gen 5 though. Gen 5 is super good. I'll leave it there for now. But Gen 5 might still have some way to fight that back. Welcome in, Rain. Xeno was saying about the same time, I think, for development for Platinum and Scarlet Violet. I looked it up, and Plat might technically have more time. Yeah, that's fascinating. Conquest. I don't have Conquest on the list. I have never played it. I actually don't have any experience with Conquest. We could visit it on the channel at some point. But it is not in my wheelhouse. I've never actually played through the game before. So I have a hard time rating it. Okay. Unbound. Unbound is a difficult one to rank. I'm just going to drop it in. This isn't this placement yet. Unbound is a tricky one. Because Unbound is a very fun fan-made story. It's a little bloated for game time. That was my kind of opinion on it. It doesn't play as kind of, I don't know, it doesn't have a flow in the same way. It's good, but I don't know if it reaches the same highs as Yellow Legacy or Crystal Clear as far as ROM hacks go. As far as for me, I think it's incredibly well made, and I think it's fun. But the fact that it took us, what, 22 streams does say something. 22 weeks of play. It's the energy, it's the vibe, it's the memories. I feel like it could be a little bit tighter gameplay. As far as like, not even like more battles, but like the actual game itself could be a little tighter, if that makes sense. It's a little bit sprawling. The routes are honestly a little long of just walking around. And I didn't love some of that. Like the expressway stuff, we were running like across the map all the time, and just doing a lot of walking, was a little painful. The game itself though was super cool. And the challenge modes I think are quite interesting. They made a whole new region off of a game from years ago. MT, it's got to get some sway for that. They did what they made. Yeah, the development of it, insane. Insanely good. Would you lower it below Yellow Legacy? See, I would put Unbound at least here. Unbound is at least there. It loses some points in replayability, I think. I think it loses some points in replayability. So I don't think it can be top of the S tier. Black 2 is the best as Rain, not Black and White. That's fascinating. I actually have not played the sequels yet. So I actually don't know for sure what my opinion on that would be. For me, I might put this in top of A. I might leave Unbound in top of A. It's very good in some ways. It's held back a little bit in others. It's not perfect. It's insanely good. I mean, it's above Crystal. It's above Fire Red. It's above Core Series games. I don't know. I might even say it's better than Yellow Legacy. I could see that argument. But does that mean we just drop Yellow Legacy to A tier? Or do we move Unbound to S tier? Does Unbound deserve to be S tier? A low S tier? Maybe. Maybe. I could even honestly see this. I could see that too. But I think that it might place higher than Yellow Legacy. What I might do is this. It might be that, actually. I think that is the most satisfying placement for me. What do you guys think about that? It might beat out Yellow Legacy. Staring at Yellow Legacy, as far as replayability, I think, I don't know. Yellow Legacy's good though too. Actually, really like that. You would put placing Unova Part 1 as B tier. Really? That's surprising to me. See, I really liked how it handled a lot of the world. Okay, we'll move on from there. That's where it will sit for now. Okay, so we have Pokemon Snap. I'll just drop it in C tier. This is the next section is these two are Nintendo 64 games, Snap and Stadium. I played both on the channel already. They both have a lot of issues. Pokemon Snap is a fun game. It's like a 2 to 3 hour gameplay loop. It's not much of a game. Snap is good. It's fun. I don't think I can place it any higher than C tier. It's fun, but the fact that you can beat the whole game in one sitting and it doesn't have a lot of replayability to me. I think I have to leave it C tier. It's got good vibes. At RUMT, they made a bunch of Pokemon cards from people taking pics of in Snap. I think it's fine. I think it ranks with Scarlet of like, it's fine. I don't think I can place it much higher just because of that. It's not much of a game. I mean, this is shorter than the Gen 1 games. And that pulls it back a little bit. And like, I don't know. I think I have not played the remake. If it was extended and a little bit more replayable as far as hardware goes, because playing on an actual N64, it's got some drawbacks. Has a soul, unlike the soulless husk that is Scarlet Violet. I think Scarlet Violet has some interesting story points that prove that there's some soul put into it. I think that it has a lot more soul than that, but I think that the gameplay of Snap just isn't quite as it doesn't match Red and Blue, right? As far as like gameplay wise, it's lacking. Vibes wise, the impact is really good. It's a 2 to 3 hour game. Snap does have emotions. We can put it over Scarlet. I'd be fine with that, but I think that's about as high up the tier list as it could go. We'll leave it there for now. Stadium, and we can like kind of loop in Stadium 2. TCG Billy saying Snap is overrated. I could agree with that, honestly. I think it is a little overrated. I think it's fine. Cold says low C tier as well. I don't know. We'll leave it there. Cold also said drop Yellow Legacy to A tier. I actually don't mind that. We're going to drop Yellow Legacy to A tier for now. We might bump it back up. I'm just going to see how that looks for now. Like I said, Yellow Legacy is a good ROM hack. It still beats out some core series games. I think Yellow version, I respect Yellow version a lot. I don't know. We'll revisit it. In other words, if you catch a Zekrom in the story, it's a fantastic game deserving S tier. Snap what went wrong, my dear child. And Stadiums. All right, so we'll drop Stadium over here too. Stadium has some of the similar issues, obviously. Stadium is D or F. It's jank. Stadium's rough. Stadium 2 could save it a little bit. If we include Stadium 2 in this category. I do love the like the not really split screen, but the 2-player like local co-op with your actual Game Boy saves. That's super, super cool. It's janky. Yeah, okay. F tier for Stadium, if you include Stadium 1 and 2, I'd say D tier. I can respect that. We'll put top of the D tier, I think. Just because it's not as fun to play. The impact and the ability to play on hardware, I really respect as far as making that happen at the time. That's kind of its main thing, though, right? The mini games are fun, though. The mini games are pretty fun. I don't know. I might move that up to C tier. That's somewhere in there. Next up is a category. I'm calling just. Yes, Pokérogue and Showdown PC side games that are. I guess Showdown's not really a game itself. It's like a host. These are like ways to play Pokemon on PC. Pokérogue is super, super fun. I think replayability wise, it's got almost everything beat because the being a roguelike, super good for replayability. The gameplay is pretty difficult, which I can respect. Pokérogue is good idea wise, but damn, it gives me trauma. A or S tier. I agree with A or S tier. I honestly think that this can go at least right behind Yellow Legacy in A tier. I'm pretty happy with that for now. Pokérogue is a fan game. Showdown is a way to play comp within reasonable means, which honestly might make it give an S tier for how good it is. Yeah. Yeah, I think that Showdown... I think Showdown can be top of A tier. Just for the impact it has, I think it deserves A tier. I don't think there's as much inspiration behind it, obviously. It's literally just a way to play competitively. It's a little bit less of an actual game. It's more of just a way to include competitive Pokemon into this. I think with some development, it can continue to improve. I don't quite think Showdown deserves S tier. But it really, exactly, Showdown had a goal and it did it. I think that lands at A tier for being useful for competitive play and a fun way to play on PC. I think it's totally solid. Pokérogue can't beat Fire Red, surely. I think it does. I think that there's a lot of inspiration behind it as far as like, there's that like love of Pokemon. There's adding new features, innovating on a concept. Fire Red doesn't innovate very much. Fire Red just basically just Kanto again, better. It's classic. I think the hacks of it are really what keep it as high rated. I don't know if I would put it above Crystal without that. Fire Red feels half-baked. I don't think that. I think that they just had a very narrow, specific goal for what they wanted for Fire Red, and they did it. But it's a very specific niche, if that makes sense. All right, Platinum. Platinum is good. Platinum is really good. Is Platinum better than Gen 5? I feel like Crystal is above Pokérogue. Really? I think gameplay issues can hold Crystal back, and I think Pokérogue is still finding it. I think Platinum is S tier. Is it better than Gen 5, though, is the next question. Because I could see the argument. I could see the argument of Gen 4 being better than Gen 5. I think that Platinum's got to go above Black version, Black and White. I think it's got to, looking at it. I mean, Cynthia to this day is a menace and causes nightmares in in many millennials. Heart Gold Soul Silver Kanto is based. I definitely want to get to that later in the tier list here. I want to play a game where Heart Gold Soul Silver is backwards, e.g. Kanto first. That'd be super cool. I'd be down for that. I haven't played Gen 5, but I can say Platinum is quite good. Putting it below Fire Red is incorrect. You can decide the precise details yourself. Fair. I think Platinum above Gen 5 feels good to me. I think Gen 4, both for introducing the physical special split, and also just having a really good design in Platinum specifically. I don't think the other entries in Gen 4 hold up as well. But there we are. Which actually I might not have listed here. I might have to add that. We'll get to that in just a moment then. So Platinum I have not played on the channel yet. And X and Y I have not played on the channel yet. Those are games that could be coming up, but I have not actually played. Much like basically this whole category, up until Heart Gold Soul Silver, a lot of these actually are Pokemon games, mainline or not, that I have not played on the channel yet. Diamond and Pearl, yes. You mean Heart Gold Soul Silver? No. Yeah. Diamond and Pearl, specifically. They would rank much lower. In fact, I can grab a card for them here. Let's see. Let me grab just something to hold its place, because I don't think I have it on here, right? Don't think I have actual Diamond and Pearl, because I do want to talk about this a little bit coming up in just a moment. So let me grab something to hold its place here. Some form of placeholder. I'll just grab an image of Pearl. Sure. This can be our placeholder. Give me 2 seconds to undo and add from device. Give me 2 seconds here to go through and add. Oh, you see my mess. Okay. Pay no attention. Just making sure that I have my files pulled up here. Okay. I'll say Diamond and Pearl, right? Okay. Okay, we'll get to that in just a moment. Hey, Vex, thank you for subscribing and liking the stream. If you have not yet, please do subscribe and like the stream. I haven't even brought that up yet because we're just hanging out and chatting. Okay, go back to Zen mode here. There we go. Looks nice now again. Okay, all right, so X and Y is like low B to C tier. Yeah, X and Y was fun, even though I did questionable choices in my UI playthrough, I still found it fun. X and Y are like the inversion of Scarlet and Violet, says Annie. Scarlet and Violet is a complete game with half-baked engine. X and Y is a complete engine with half-baked game. I agree. Galar is D. X and Y is bottom of C. I could see that. X and Y could go with Scarlet. I could totally see that. I don't think I have played this in a long, long time. The fact that Megas just kind of break the game is rough as far as the gameplay perspective. I have to maybe put it above Scarlet for performance issues. Maybe even above Snap, honestly. Because Megas is cool. Megas be real cool. Oh, Cosmic was saying something about Showdown? Let me back this up here. As someone who knows the Wobblefett and the side of the community, if you know, you know. I'm contractually obligated to say Showdown is top of S tier. I'll not be taking any questions, says Cosmic. I think Showdown is respectable for what it is. I just don't think it can be S tier really for a Pokemon game. I think it's a excellent shout out to to Showdown and the competitive Pokemon scene. Without being its standalone game, it just can't go higher. But we've played Showdown on the channel, and I wanted to include it here. Showdown gets its own tier. Fair. Warren, hey, I'm listening while playing Pokemon Yellow. I'm using a Primeape and Venomoth. Very nice. Hey, Nicole, welcome in. You just caught a Groudon in Dynamax Adventures in Pokemon Sword. Very nice. Welcome in, Nicole. Do you play Pokemon Go? I do not play Pokemon. I mean, I have played many hours of Pokemon Go. I don't currently play it, and I did not play it on the channel, if that makes sense. Now, Oras is cool and has Megas. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that is a good shout. I have not, like I said, I have not played Oras, so I can't really rank it fairly. On rarity ranking, I could see it being easily A tier. Cool. Okay, so now we have the discussion that I wanted to have here about some of the games, which is the difference between entries. Because we have Emerald here. And Emerald is fantastic. It's probably one of the best mainline games ever. I have also seen valid criticism from Smith Plays and others about the flow of the game. So let's get this ranked, and then we can rank some of the other entries here of the generations 1, 2, and 3. I think Emerald probably deserves S tier. Once again, visually like gorgeous. Has really that the vibe and the love of Pokemon still. Well, I've seen you play Pokemon Go many times. I've played it many times. I just don't play it anymore really that much. So that's what I was like, do I play currently? No. I've played many. I mean, it's been out for 10 years. I played years of Pokemon Go, just not much anymore. Hey, You Pikachu is a nightmare as far as I know. I've never actually played it. Scarlet is better than X and Y. Violet is worse than Hey You Pikachu is crazy. Ah! I'm just in Pallet Town. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Annie, for saving my butt there. I still had the tier list down. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so I think that Emerald's pretty good there. I'm gonna watch you all playing Pokemon Go. Nice, Vex. Sounds good. Okay, I think I'm happy with Emerald there, above Yellow. I think the improvements for Generation 3 are totally valid for being ranked higher. Now let's talk a little bit about other entries. Like I mentioned, we have Gold and Silver, Ruby and Sapphire, and we have Diamond and Pearl that have already all been ranked so far, but are definitely very different than the other games in the series. But where do they land? Gold and Silver, I think, are fun. Once again, they have great vibes. Ho-Oh and Lugia are iconic. They're definitely not as good as Crystal. At the best, low B tier. That's the best I think that we could give Gold and Silver. It's got the energy. It's got the vibes. It fails in gameplay a little bit. So Gold and Silver, I think, low B tier is where I would put that. Ruby and Sapphire, I played a lot of Ruby and Sapphire. They have a better champion. They have worse gyms, and the story feels more complete in Emerald. It is a little bit of a, once again, bloated storyline. I can totally get behind that. Ruby and Sapphire are purely on RNGing, and that side of the community has to be B tier. C tier, say some. Ooh. Ooh, lower than Gold and Silver is kind of rough. I'm like, I could see Ruby and Sapphire over Gold and Silver in B tier. but not above the original Red and Blue. That's what I'm thinking there. I really love Gen 3. Visually, still stunning. Better pacing than Gen 2 for Gold and Silver. Emerald is just the better version of that, right? Like, it's just the better game. So we'll leave that there, I think. I think I turned it off. Oh, it's slowly into the plug. Really, what you doing? Oh. There you go, honey. Wild puppy. There we go. The wild puppy has unplugged things. There we go. Wild puppy is good now. She was accidentally sat on a cable and pulled it out by accident. You saw the puppy like the video. Did she appear in the very corner? The little fluff? Okay, Diamond and Pearl has to be F'd, right? That's why Platinum is so highly rated. Diamond and Pearl is rough. Platinum fixes a lot game design wise. I think I would put Diamond and Pearl still above. It's at least B tier, right? I mean, it might be C tier. A lot of people hate Diamond and Pearl. Nobody plays Diamond and Pearl. Everyone plays Platinum. Platinum actually did not sell very well, surprisingly. Like, it just wasn't actually that well received. Or Ruby Sapphire low, but 2, but my nostalgia. Well, Emerald is up there much higher. I think that Emerald, outside of Steven not being the champion anymore, which sucks, is just a better game. I love Ruby and Sapphire there. Once again, so many hours of Gen 3. No one remembers Diamond and Pearl, though. I can see Diamond and Pearl. It doesn't have the development issues. Does that keep it at least C tier? And yeah, we can also talk about that right there. The Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, the remakes. Not great. Pokemon Coliseum, I have not played that, I don't think ever, if maybe very shortly. I did not have a GameCube growing up. So I did not play a lot of Pokemon Coliseum. It's not on the list because I don't feel like I can fairly rank it, but we could talk about it a little bit at the end. But at least BDSP is in the right spot. Hey, Dazed, welcome in. Let's see. Yeah, I think Diamond and Pearl are forgettable, but more competently made, which might keep it C tier. And yeah, BDSP is F tier. I don't think there's even an argument there. They just did it again. So it lacks the creativity. It already took kind of a mid game. I feel like Diamond and Pearl is mid, which I feel like fits C tier quite well. But Diamond and Pearl doesn't have issues. Empty Acid Rain and the AI's quirks a bit too much if you ask me to be normal. Yeah, but you're not like having Scarlet and Violet levels of issues, you know, right? Or even Red and Blue. So like development wise, it's a little bit less of a mess. I think that there's a lot of issues gameplay wise, which was why it would end up C tier. But yeah, BDSP is just, they improved Gen 4 with Platinum and then just took those away and just made it worse again. Jacob was saying Gen 3 all the way up, though top of the list and fair play, bud. Yeah, I like it. You can't speak out of the map in Scarlet. Well, you can just constantly look through the ground in Scarlet. It's pretty bad. It's pretty rough. I think that there are other things here that might end up quite low still, because we also have Sword and Shield. Now, I know that Sword and Shield is quite hated. Is it more hated than Diamond and Pearl? Is the only game where you're not part of a story. Yeah, the storyline feels very lacking. And I know that Andy's gonna say what story. I do think the Gigantamax and the actual like battles feel good. I think end of D tier for Sword and Shield is fair because it does have some highlights. It's not got a lot going for it, but it has some highlights that are fun. But the gameplay make up for it? Yeah, exactly. It has decent gameplay. Storyline, not great. I mean, still some issues. Grinding is okay. The end battles against Leon and stuff are like actually pretty good. The only good that Sword and Shield brought is the NPCs from Sword and Shield. Shredley was saying, I grew up on the classics and Scarlet Violet blows all of them out of the water. All Pokemon in the overworld is how Pokemon is meant to be. I like the formula of Pokemon in the overworld. I really like it. It's a solid mid. It's fun, but I'm still like 50-50. Yeah. Post game is fun. Hop and Bay are the only good NPCs from Sword and Shield. Yeah. Decent legendary hunts. I think, in my opinion, I would actually do this. I didn't hate Sword and Shield. I thought it was, the battles are fun. And that made me actually finish the game. I did not even actually finish X and Y, to be fair, when I started playing it, which is rough. I think there was also just time in the life, like the time I played it in my life when I was in college, I was not as into it. But I did actually finish Sword and Shield, which says something. Like, it's at least playable, which I think puts it at least D tier, not F tier. BDSP I finished as a chore because I was fascinated with it because it was so bad. Now, before we get to Let's Go, I want everyone to know that my goofy little boy Meltan exists and I will have no hate on his cute self. Absolutely not. Meltan is a cutie. All right, so Let's Go. Here is going to be a hot take. I think Let's Go is fine. It's not horrible. What it is something unique. And I think for that, I'm actually going to rate it. Actually, probably here. I was going to say C tier. That would probably be too much. I think that would be too much credit to Let's Go. I love Melmetal, but I hate Meltan. Terrible standalone mon. Feeling, but worse. Let's Go is a Kanto game, which means it has issues, but I put it next to Red and Blue. See, I feel like the battles in Let's Go are less satisfying, but I could see the C tier. Pokemon Snap is on the tier list. It is in C tier right now. I think it's fine, but just too short and not fleshed out enough. Yeah, the problem is just like the battles are less satisfying to me in Let's Go. They broke the formula a little bit, which I can respect. I don't know. I could see this being here too. I could see Let's Go being mid. Just because it's Kanto and everyone loves Kanto. It innovates, which I got to give it credit for. Daisy is saying Red and Blue are A tier minimum. I think they're good. I think we got to take into account the kind of mess that they are. They're a beautiful mess, but they're a mess. The Real Joester is saying Sun and Moon worst Pokemon game ever made. That's crazy. That's crazy. Was Snap grass encounters or overworld encounters? I never got it. No, Pokemon Snap is a game where you're taking photos of the Pokemon. Totally, it's a very unique take on this in the series. Let's Go is better than every other Kanto game, says Annie. That's surprising. Let's Go is kind of lame though. I think it was interesting for what it was, but I don't think it was something that many of us needed. Let's Go is the only Kanto game that isn't a mess. I think that the starters are kind of busted in Let's Go, to be honest. I don't love what they did with Pikachu and Eevee. Let's Go is just upgraded yellow version. Yeah. Okay, so then let's also talk about another fantastic game. Oh, Lily wants to go out, I think. Veggie's getting home right now. Let me let her out. All right. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of these that I have not played on the channel yet, and if I would, I think is another... yeah, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, I think has to be my favorite entry in the series. It's so good. It's so good. And honestly, the S tier is getting a little too full. I might have to do this. I know some people are going to like that. I think I have to do that. Drop Unbound because it's just getting a little bit full in S tier. Let's Go lets me write a right on best Kanto game, no contest. It's all good, Annie. I can totally respect putting it higher. If it was for you, that's great. I think that's just the thing. It's not for everybody. Black and White 2 is as good, if not better, than Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I think that's fair. The investment I get from having 2 regions is awesome. They do Kanto better in Gen 4. The follower Pokemon are awesome. Does Yellow let you ride Rhydon? That's true. You voted in the poll. Thank you, Fruitful. You're awesome. Wait, you're including Gold and Silver as a single game rather than 2 separate games? Yeah, because basically they're the same. They're easier to rank that way too. Jacob was saying, would just like to play Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, old mechanics, or won't be a nostalgia trip. Oh, was Go the grass encounters or Overworld? Let's Go was grass encounters still. Hey, Just. Been crocheting for about half an hour. I don't have a clue what you're talking about, but it's just nice listening to your voice. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Unova is split in 2. It basically has 2 regions. Yeah, but the actual combination of 2 separate generations is super cool. And I gotta give it credit. I think if I was to play Black and White 2, that would probably give me more context on it. Mystery Dungeon. Cosmic saying, did any other Pokemon game make me tear up? No, Mystery Dungeon as a series on a whole is at least A. I really like Mystery Dungeon. There's a whole series to this. I at least want this B tier. I think it at least deserves at least B tier. I really do like the Mystery Dungeon games. I think they're really clever. I think it's a totally new and interesting take on the series, which I really appreciate. I think it is more enjoyable gameplay-wise than Red and Blue. It's not as iconic, obviously. It's kind of a side game. But I think I would rate it higher than Red and Blue for me. But I don't know if I can give it A tier. I think high B tier is good for me. I respect Red and Blue. I know some people really want Red and Blue higher. I think the polish, just the issues and the late game balance, especially Giovanni, Blaine, and the champion are just bad in Red and Blue, and that sucks. Yellow fixes that and makes the actual like last battles just more interesting, and I think that got to count for something. It is iconic. It's very iconic, but I think Yellow needs to wear the crown for Gen 1. Another game that really broke the mold is Legends Arceus. Now, Arceus, I think, is my favorite game in the last few years. Where does it place, though? Once again, the dialogue sections of the game are a little rough. I don't love that about modern Pokemon. The spamming A through dialogue screens isn't fantastic. Yeah, Oros isn't on the list. I have actually not played through Oros yet. is S tier, is the second best Sinnoh game. Yellow's best Gen 1 game is far from the best Kanto game, but it's best Gen 1 game. I think that's fair. I think Let's Go is probably the best Kanto game, at least development-wise. I think it's a niche category, but it's not for everybody. Spanning A through dialogue is a tradition of the senior series genius. Yeah, it's a little bit more painful in the modern games. I really enjoyed it, though. Because I really enjoyed it, it's probably S tier. If I was to put it, it might be middle S tier. Is it better than the Platinum? It might be better than the Platinum. I don't know if I liked it more than Crystal Clear. Maybe I did. I really liked Arceus too. I could see that, honestly. Arceus is a solid game. Oof. Pokemon Stadium is S tier, says Dazed. The gameplay's a little rough in it. I finally have a fourth accurate placement. I think that's where I want it to live. Sun and Moon. Now, granted, I have not played much of Sun and Moon, but it's a core series game. I have to include it somewhere. And I know that you guys are going to be really excited about Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon is one that I would be wanting to play on the channel, as well as Heart Gold and Soul Silver, as well as Platinum. I think they could all make appearances on the channel for like Nuzlocke, all sorts of stuff. It's really a well-made game. I have not played it though, so I'm gonna have to rely a little bit on you guys to place it. I don't know what year this came out. That was when I last probably picked this up. So it's been a minute for me. And I don't think I played the whole thing either. Sun and Moon, and by extension, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, are absolute peak fiction. The music is awesome, from what I remember for Gen 7. Cannot speak on the Alola games, but it seems better than X and Y, though I'd lower X and Y first. Okay. Pokemon Arceus should be S tier because Arceus is my son. Done, Colton. S tier, permanently. Sun and Moon is either high A+ or low S. Because I have not actually played through the game I have not played the game at all in many years, and I've never finished the game probably as far as I remember. Ooh, interesting. Some people don't like Sun and Moon. Interesting. If I was to equal out both, where would I place them? Should I separate them out? Or is it worth trying to lump them all together? B tier for Sun and Moon. I could respect that. I'll drop in the middle of the B tier while we can talk about it a little bit more. Separate them? Okay. So I've never played Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So this will just be Sun and Moon. Was it Shiny Roggenrola? Your first encounter was a Shiny Roggenrola? That's impressive. People who say they don't like Sun and Moon are just people who don't like a good story and can't read. It might be me. I feel like maybe middle of the B tier for Sun and Moon is like totally fair. I think both Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and ORAS could be more S tier placements. I have not played either. I've only played part of Sun and Moon, so I have a hard time giving a definitive answer there. Ooh, A tier says Cosmic. Interesting. Okay. I will rely on you guys for that. We can place that at the end if we want to. The next one, though, is a difficult one to place. So this is just going to be some miscellaneous Pokemon games that I have played. Pokemon XD is very, very fun. It's super unique. It's goofy at times, but it is awesome at the same time. From what I remember of this, once again, it's been a little while, has Shadow Lugia It's really goated. I honestly think at least here in A tier above Crystal, if not maybe even above Fire Red. I'm not taking any arguments for regarding the placement of Sun and Moon, except that RBY should be below it. Oh, really? That's fair. We'll do that then. Sun and Moon there. Crystal should be over Fire Red, in my opinion. Yeah, Crystal's gameplay and like especially the experience curve really is rough, and it has some sections of the storyline that are just kind of there. Fire Red is a more succinct game. It's also not one of my favorites, but the impact it has for the ROM hacking community cannot be understated. It's a huge part of the community. Hey, Link, welcome in. Pokemon Tournament has not been ranked yet. Can we move X and Y up one to B tier? I'd actually be fine with that if we want to see them in B tier. We'll have to see if you can rally some other people up to that same opinion. Should X and Y move up above Gold and Silver or Ruby and Sapphire, or even just the end of the B tier? X and Y D tier immediately, says Dazed. Oh no. Yellow ain't leaving S tier. Come on, folks. Remember, it's not a democracy. It's M-tatorship is crazy. M-tatorship. Some sections of the storyline are just kind of there. This entirety of Kanto is just kind of there. No! No, Annie! I mean, you're not stuck in a single building fighting the same rocket 4 or 5 times in a row, like in Mahogany Town and Crystal. That's rough. That's really rough. Like, that's where I think Crystal drops a little bit in the ranking. Otherwise, vibes and everything, I think it's a 10. But some of the rocket stuff and some of that is just not great, and Kanto just isn't quite done justice. But it's not. Yeah, you're fighting this rockets in Sylph, but in Crystal, it's literally the same 2 rockets over and over. It's literally the same guys, which is insane. At least it's different rockets when you're in Sylph. Fighting the same 2 guys like at least 4 or 5 times is actually insane. I can respect Megas being a big thing. I don't think X and Y handled Megas very well, Ty, which I think is why it's down in C tier. The story for Kanto, Johto, Kalos, and Galar are all half finished or confusing. I could definitely agree with that. Johto, I feel like, is just not. It doesn't reach the same highs that Kanto. I don't know. Kalos and Galar, I guess, are up for discussion. You can turn off the security system, can you? Me and Mahogany Town beating up the same 2 guys over and over again for catharsis. I have not played Ranger in a long time, and I don't think Ranger could appear on the channel, at least as far as the current status goes, because I don't own a copy, and I don't even know how we could properly stream that with a touchpad to be true to Ranger. I think Ranger, if I was to place Ranger, it'd probably be like C tier, like Snap and Let's Go. It's a little bit gimmicky, but it's fun. But I don't think it's quite as fleshed out as some of the top tier. Johto could be better, but the mons in the gen not affect your reasoning. Yeah, Johto missing Johto Pokemon is rough. Gen 2 just completely being like, oh yeah, you can get them eventually if you finish the whole game is crazy. Then again, Red being the final boss, one of the best in all of the series. If not maybe the best. So we have another couple of odd ones here, because we have the Game Boy Color entrance of the TCG games. This is another one I haven't played in a long time, and I do not have a copy myself. I borrowed one from a friend many years ago. probably could play it much better than I did as a kid. I probably did not understand it nearly enough. However, I do remember it being pretty fun, but maybe a little bit silly. I don't remember how much was actually in this game. I do think for being the first in its series, I think we could at least give it like bottom of C tier. But I could see this moving up higher too, depending on everybody's experiences with the actual trading card games on the handhelds. Yeah, I think C tier I'm happy with for now on that, but I can see that maybe a little bit higher. Pokken is a pretty fun take on the Pokemon series. This is a fighting game, for those who haven't played it. I think that it's less replayable, which hurts. Oh, Ranger Shadows was a good game. I actually never played Ranger Shadows, so I wouldn't be able to rank that. Yeah, it's fun. I own it, but I don't think I revisit it nearly as much. So if I was to place it, I think it's well made. And I could honestly see it going like here. As far as I remember, it's been a couple of years since I played it. But it's a really cool take on the series, and I think that that's... Yeah, but meaning I just like lost interest. It doesn't hold my interest as much as many of the other games, and that might just be me. That's what I was meaning when I said less replayable. I did not feel the need to pick it back up again after a little while. It got a little bit stale a little bit more quickly, so I think C tier is where I would put that. Cosmic saying Oras and Mega Rayquaza is the reason Wolf Glick became world champion. Remember that, folks, when you rank Oras. I mean, I think I'm going to have to throw Oras and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon on the tier list at the very end here, just to be fair to everybody. We'll just give it an honorary placement, since I don't have a tile for it. TCG Pocket. This is the newest TCG game that's going super viral. It is a gacha style game. Not a super fantastic template. They do a very satisfying job with it. I think the battles actually are quite enjoyable. But as a gacha game, I'm probably gonna have to go here. No missing no in Pokémon tournament. That would be actually pretty good. TCG Pocket's A tier, or will be when we WWE battle. I think for the gotchaness of it, I gotta demote it. I like it a lot. It's fun. I do play it more than a lot of others. But as far as it goes, it is not iterating as much. And I feel like content-wise, it's just not as fleshed out as Pokken or even the Let's Go or Snap. I don't know if I can rate it higher than that. I don't know. I'll leave it there for now. I don't know. It is fun. I do play it more. And Pokemon cards are nice. If it's fun and I play it more, I feel like it's got to maybe move up a little bit. Maybe to like end of B tier. Because I do play it. So like, if I play it and I say it's fun, I feel like it can't be D tier. One I haven't played in a while is Unite, though. Unite. Unite might be here. I might need to move something up, though. I'm trying to keep it to only one line for each tier, so I don't want to put it also in C tier unless we move something up or down. problem, Unite, I feel like is fun. The problem is that it relies very much on like online multiplayer, and that can be a horrible experience. So I think for that reason, it's going to be lower. I had a good time with it though. I actually also used to play a lot of League of Legends. To be fair, as a now recovered LOL enjoyer, I enjoyed Unite. It's fun, but also cringe at times. And he says Unite is honorary F tier, not because the game is badly designed, it's actually very well made, but because it's full of little Timmy, and little Timmy does not know how to play video games. Exactly. I think it gets D tier because you could play with people that know how to play, and it could be cool, or it could be a horribly frustrating experience, and then you just stop playing, which is kind of why I don't play it anymore, because it's like, if I only have so much time to actually play video games in my life, I don't want to spend it, you know, getting frustrated at a game. We never recover MT. I know this. We never recover. It's basically Pokemon League of Legends, indeed. And the last entrance here is Pokemon Pinball. This one I could honestly see maybe making appearance for a silly stream on the channel. I actually don't know how to rank pinball. What is Pokemon Pinball Land? Pinball is A tier. Pinball is kind of cool. Kind of like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, it's honestly a pretty good little game. I don't think I like it as much as Mystery Dungeon or Crystal. Has really good secrets. Pokemon Pinball with Showdown. That's kind of interesting. See, I was thinking maybe it's in the B tier somewhere. I could see it being at least here. Ruby and Sapphire, I put so many hours into these two. I don't know if I could put Pinball over it, just because I personally really love Gen 3. Pinball's fun, but it just wasn't as much my speed. So maybe there? Alongside Ruby and Sapphire and Red and Blue is a pretty good spot to be in. Can you get a tier below BDSP, please? It's too close to actual games. Please, I think BDSP just gets kicked out. It doesn't even get ranked. No, I mean, there is an imaginary E tier here that just isn't filled in. So it is technically an extra gap between the two. But no, BDSP, I did not understand at the time. We can actually, we'll talk about all the placements, like just in summary, going up, and let's see if it, see if anything changes here. BDSP and poop tier, call it the nope tier below F tier. It's noped. It's just straight F. Just taking L's over here. Okay, so going from F to S tier, BDSP and F tier, it just did a mediocre game worse after an improved Gen 4 game Platinum came out, which just doesn't make sense. Rename F tier to poop tier. I think it's gonna stay F for now, Annie, but we can have those synonymous with each other. But when Diamond and Pearl was given a the Platinum threequel, or like the third in the generation, it was improved, and then they threw that away. I just don't understand. And then D tier, starting from the lowest side, Blue Kaizo. It's an interesting take as far as a difficulty mod. It could be useful for some interesting challenges. It's not very enjoyable to play because it's just difficult for difficulty's sake. So it just ends up being pretty frustrating. Stadium is also in D tier. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Stadium is pretty janky as far as like gameplay experiences go. It's really silly. It's kind of like a really bad movie where it's enjoyable, but not because it's actually good. Cosmic just skipping BDSP entirely. I love it. Sword and Shield is in D tier. I could honestly see this going up a little bit, but I don't know what it would replace. So maybe there's not really much upward momentum to go for here, because I didn't mind Sword and Shield that much. I don't know if it was a very good game. I don't know if it deserves D tier. I did play Stadium 2, but I don't own a copy, so I played it at a friend's house many, many years ago, and have not played a lot of it since. Platinum is like the Game of the Year edition. D and P, Diamond and Pearl, didn't actually get Game of the Year, but Game Freak will act like it did anyways because they're incapable of admitting they're wrong, despite it being evergreen. Yeah. Honestly, I could see Sword and Shield bumping up to C tier. For me. I don't know what I would kick down to the lower tier. I think I might do this for me. That I don't love Diamond and Pearl being that low. Ugh. S and S is D. What? I'm not sure which one that is. Stadium 2. Let's see. Yeah, S and S. I'm not sure. I think I need to do this to be at peace with my own soul. I need to drop Snap. Oh, Sword and Shield. See, I think I need to do this. To be honest to myself here, I like Snap. I also like Stadium. But they have a very specific niche, which is they did not age well and they're not great gameplay-wise. Snap was weird. Snap is fun. Snap is a vibe. You can replay Snap once every 10 years, and that's kind of all you need. It's good as like a little tiny snack once in a while. SNS is Sword and Shield. Yeah, it's like they wrote it out as SNS, like 3 letters, and I did not recognize that. Diamond and Pearl are way better than TCG Pocket. I like TCG Pocket fine. I actually think the battling is pretty well made. It's definitely a gacha, which I don't love. I could honestly see this, though. X and Y, though. I think that's too high for Diamond and Pearl. That's pain. Oh! As a spokesperson for Lord Dome, says Cosmic, he has a message to his followers. Lord Dome approves of this list as it is. All existences will continue for now. Big Man Blastoise is disappointed with red and blue? Yeah, probably. That feels too high for... Do we need to push all of this down like this? Yeah, I think we got to do that. We got to push TCG Pocket to D. I just don't... I think that's a good final placement. TCG Pocket and D. The gacha just feels gross at times. It's a well-made gacha, and the battles are fun. They're really short though, and there's just not a lot of content as far as like it goes. Then the Game Boy Color version, which I remember being quite good, and it's a standalone actual game cartridge, which is fun, and no gacha, obviously. I think that bumps it up above TCG Pocket. I feel like that's fair. I actually didn't mind Sword and Shield that much. The storyline is pretty flat, but the Gigantamax is fun, so I think that being a C tier is still pretty good. I think I'm happy with that. And the Diamond and Pearl is a more cohesive game than Sword and Shield. It's definitely the worst version of Gen 4. And I don't think it's as fun as Scarlet. Scarlet's fun, but it's got some real issues, which I think is fair. Pokken is above Scarlet because it innovated. It's not my favorite format of Pokemon. Oops, I'm on the table again. But I think it did a good job for what it is. And then let's go above that. Similar issues. It's not for everybody. I think they did a good job of Kanto though, and like turning it into that version of Kanto worked. Cohesive, but does it have fire types? Yeah, it doesn't have fire types, so it's not well balanced. But at least like it's a playable game. I don't think it's as good even as Scarlet. I think it can continue to exist there. I think it's fine. It gets a lot of hate. See, I like the battles. I think that it can stay there because I like the battles quite a bit. There's highlights there for me. Yes, Legends A is an S tier. We're almost actually to covering the S tier here. We're working our way back up, talking about all of the tier lists, making sure everything makes sense to me. So we got X and Y at the top of the C tier. It introduced Megas, which is super cool. It was okay as a game. It's not well balanced, but it added new things to the series quite a bit. I might even take that below. I don't know. It's like fine. It's badly balanced, but it's fun, and Megas are cool, so maybe it can stay there. I'm between that and Let's Go. We might switch those. And then to B tier, we got Gold and Silver, which once again, the worst of Gen 2, but still super beautiful looking. Like, no, the sprites aren't animated, and it has the same issues as Crystal, but Ho-Oh and Lugia are iconic legendaries, and I think that there's still a lot of love in those games. Pokemon Pinball, which is just a fun, once again, a fun spin on Pokemon. And then Ruby and Sapphire for me, because I really like those games. I spent a ton of time with them because I owned Ruby first as Gen 3 and spent a lot of time with it that way before I ever played Emerald. And then above that is Red and Blue for being the top sold Pokemon, most sold Pokemon title ever, and being the introduction to the whole series. The Sugimori art is amazing. The whole era of Pokemon Mania that it brought around is awesome. And yeah, it deserves at least B tier. I think that I agree with with where it ended up. Sun and Moon is there in B tier. I've not played a ton of that, and it's been a long time, but it's pretty good as far as I know, and as far as the chat has been saying as well. Mystery Dungeon in B tier. I personally really like the Mystery Dungeon series. I think it's quite fun and super cute, and I like the Pokemon being able to interact on their own. I like it. Okay, A tier starts with Crystal version at the end. That sentence doesn't make a lot of sense, but starting with Crystal, it has issues with the actual game progression, but there's a ton of love for the series in it. The 2 regions is awesome. Being able to see Kanto again was really nice. Overall, it was a good game. Balance was just a little bit off. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, super fun, like vibe, totally different energy than the rest of the series, but introduced Shadow Lugia, brought us to a console, like an actual console for a playthrough, like a storyline of Pokemon instead of Snap and Stadium, where it was kind of standalone battles. Plus, like, you got to see a lot more fleshed out worlds of Pokemon that were not just the regions as we know them. I really enjoyed it. But Fire Red, its impact on the community cannot be understated. The hacking, just Game Boy, the GBA hacks of Pokemon that come from Fire Red cannot even be, I don't even know how many there are that can't be counted as far as I know. So the impact of it alone, I don't think it's a great game as far as what it actually innovates on. It's kind of just a copy paste of Kanto. But it does a competent job of that copy paste and then open the door for a lot of new stuff. Above that is Pokerogue, which I find kind of the opposite. It's like less balanced, less cohesive as Fire Red. Fire Red's kind of a package where you know what you're going to get, and they did it fairly well. Pokerogue has been kind of a live development experience where it's kind of, we don't know what we're going to get. And that's kind of the excitement of it. I really like Pokerogue. I think it deserves the A tier. I like that. Above that is Yellow Legacy. Fantastic ROM hack from Smith Plays. I think it did a very good job of adapting Yellow version and making it more competitively viable. As far as an actual Gen 1 experience, I just don't think it hits the same for me. But as a game, it's better put together than Yellow version. It still maintains some Gen 1 glitches, which is funny to call it polished. So it kind of had a hard time ranking that one. I don't think it sticks out too bad there. I think it does make sense. And Showdown is an A because for competitive Pokemon, Showdown is essential. And it's a great way to play with you guys much more easily. And everybody can play Pokemon using Showdown, which is really cool. And then Unbound at the top of A tier because it is a fantastic ROM hack, but pacing is an issue for me. The walking is an issue for me. It's just a very sprawling storyline and map that needs a little bit of direction and is tougher to revisit knowing how long the game is. So I think it's incredible. It's S tier quality, but similar to Crystal, pacing issues I think hold it back a little bit from what it could be. Yellow is the first entrant in the S tier, and I absolutely will screenshot this and post it to the Discord, and then we can all chat about it there. And then, so yeah, Yellow's the start of the S tier. One of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. The best entrant of Gen 1, much more balanced than Red and Blue. Honestly, to me, like, more nostalgic than Fire Red, even though they're actually not that many years apart anymore, comparatively. They're both quite old. Something about Yellow just really is so iconic to me. The follower sprites for the first time, Pikachu interacting with you is so nice. Thank you, Days. Have a good night. Take care. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I think it needs to be S tier, especially for this channel. For the M-Tiberius channel, it's got to be S tier. And then we got Emerald above that because it's just a very well-made game. It's beautiful. It still has that real, like, nostalgic love for it. And I genuinely think the Legends are some of the best that we get to see in Emerald. And then Gen 5 probably above that. Just for gameplay reasons. You got the physical special split. I think that the way you battle the Elite Four is actually very, very cool. I think it brings some elements to the Pokemon series that are really nice, as well as Platinum, obviously, for the physical special split. Many similar reasons there. Platinum is the better version of Diamond and Pearl, just through and through. And then above that, for nostalgia's sake, is Crystal Clear. It's a fantastic ROM hack. I've talked about that enough with the video on the channel. I love it. Open world for Johto and Hoenn. Not Johto and Hoenn. Johto and Kanto. Makes just so much sense. And it's so cool to see it done that way. Let's see here. Legends Arceus is above that. And that really, I think, is one of the first games in the last probably decade that have really caught my attention the same way. Like, I don't think, because Sword and Shield was like fine to me. Scarlet's actually been pretty fun because I've been playing it on stream. But Arceus really has something magical to it that I really, really love. And I think that could be a really cool thing for Legends ZA. That Legends spin-off could end up being my favorite stuff that they do for Pokemon. And then I think S tier, best Pokemon game as far as my taste, is Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It does everything that Crystal, well, not everything that Crystal Clear does, everything that Crystal does better, and includes the Gen 4 improvements, all of that stuff. Yeah, I think that tier list is solid. I think that this is the final iteration. I'll take a picture of this. I'll post it to the Discord. If you have not joined the Discord, check out the link in the description or the channel page, and you can join over there and we can talk about it more. And Cosmic says, now when will we see? Now, where will ZA go? Who knows? If it can live up to Legends Arceus, it's going to be very impressive. I'm hoping it does. Arceus is the only Pokemon game that really takes advantage of being in 3D. I think Scarlet does badly. It does use it though. Honestly, these are all the best takes. I think we landed in a very good spot. I think I'm really happy with this tier list. I think we are good with this. I might screenshot and just cut off half of BDSP. It doesn't even get included in the screenshot. Why not Black and White 2? I have not played them, Quentin. I would not be able to really rank them accurately. I think that they could stay with Black and White. I think all of those could kind of be in the same category, as far as I know. I think that they're probably better, but I don't know if they beat Platinum or Crystal Clear for me, because those are some fantastic games. The only other time when something needed to be in 3D was the Sinnoh Steel Gym, which I only say because Unbound tried to do that in 2D and just didn't do it very well. Yeah. Gyms where there's a lot of like world movement can be tough in 2D. If someone told me that Pokemon Legends Arceus was released after Scarlet and Violet, I would believe you. Yeah, 100%. I think it's just more well developed than Scarlet and Violet, which is sad, because that's a core series game right there, and it ends up at best mid C tier. It's mid at best. It's got some cool stuff. It's mid, unfortunately. The some things just really hold it back. During Pokemon Go. Ooh, yeah, Pokemon Go was on here. Just last second edition Pokemon Go. I would put it in the B tier. I think it would be this last little gap in the B tier. I think I would put Pokemon Go right here if I was to put anything. I think the impact it had is awesome. I think that it's really fun to play with people IRL, because like that's not something a lot of Pokemon games have accomplished. And I think that a lot of the features they've added are cool. I don't think it's going to even beat Gold and Silver for me, but I think it's solid. I think it's really, really cool. And going out into the world and catching stuff is always fun. You have to go touch grass sometimes, I guess, huh? Yeah, the layers. The layers of the Steel Gem and Platinum. Unbound doesn't do that. Oh, interesting. Yeah, but I kind of get your point, though, of like some things in 2D just don't work as well as if they were to be in 3D. Totally get it. Okay, I think that's a pretty solid tier list, though. I'll call it there for tonight. That'll be a stream for tonight. I mean, that was a 2-hour stream, surprisingly. We got through everything on the tier list. I'll probably take next Wednesday off from streaming, and we'll poll the members section of the community to see what ROM hacks we want to see next. So that could be Pokemon Quetzal, which is the Emerald hack that has all the way up to Gen 9. That could be a bunch of different stuff. So get in the Discord. In the suggestions portion of the Discord, let me know of any ROM hacks you'd like to see, and then I will check those out, make a poll of 3 or 4